Welcome back to the Britannia Coin Company. We're a coin dealer based in Royal Wootton Bassett in the UK. Today we continue with our World War I Wednesdays videos, where we've been looking at the previous sets and this multi-year release commemorating the First World War in silver-proof £5 coins. So if you missed one of those previous videos, be sure to go back and check them out. Today's set is the 2016 release, focused on themes of 1916 in the First World War. We start with this coin commemorating Jack Cornwell. The design is by David Cornell, the same designer who we have seen commemorating other significant individuals in the previous two sets. We see his portrait along with a naval gun to the bottom right of the design, and over his shoulder to the left of the design is a battleship. On the outer rim of the coin we again have poppies chained together with barbed wire. These coins also have edge inscriptions on them, and on this one it reads as "Mother, don't wait for postie," a quotation from a ballad named after him. John Travers Cornwall, commonly known as Jack, was born in 1900 in Leighton, Essex, and enlisted into the Royal Navy at the age of 15 without his father's permission. On the 31st of May 1916, he was aboard the HMS Chester, which was scouting ahead of the Royal Navy's Grand Fleet. It turned to go and investigate some gunfire in the distance. They were engaged by 4 German light cruisers, hitting the ship 17 times. The impact and flying debris killed the entire gun crew that he was a part of, and although he was injured in his legs and stomach, he remained at his post awaiting orders. Despite taking a number of hits, the ship itself was fine, although the situation on the deck was dire, with many heavily injured crew. Sadly, Cornwall passed away in hospital due to his injuries, aged 16. He was posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross Medal, the highest award in military service, and remains today the 3rd youngest recipient of this award. The Scouts also issue the Cornwall Scout Badge in his memory, and the Sea Cadets have a building named after him, and Newham Sea Cadets honour him in their name, Newham Cornwall VC. Our second coin commemorates the Army. It was designed by David Rowlands, whose work in this set includes the Merchant Navy, Home Front and Royal Navy designs. And on this coin you can see a group of soldiers in a trench. The edge inscription on this coin reads as "Men Who March Away," from a poem of the same name by Thomas Hardy. The First World War transformed the British Army, at the outbreak consisting of around 250,000 professional soldiers with experience policing the Empire. By 1916, Britain had turned to conscription, bringing all walks of society into the conflict. The war also changed the weaponry of the army, who began the war with rifles and light artillery, and cavalrymen armed with swords and lances. By the end of the war they were fighting with modern machine guns, heavy artillery, mortars and hand grenades. Over the war, 8.7 million men served in the British Army, with over 700,000 casualties, as well as more than 250,000 men from across the Empire. Rowlands captured the feel of trench warfare, with soldiers ready to advance or to defend their positions. In the face of terrible circumstances, they were bolstered by the friendship and humour amongst the other soldiers serving. This third coin celebrates poetry and language. We can see a line of troops walking across the battlefield, with the quotation, "There shall be in that rich earth a richer dust concealed," which is from Rupert Brooke's poem The Soldier. The coin was designed by David Lawrence, another returning contributor to this overall set. The edge inscription on this coin reads "The truth untold, the pity of war," from Wilfred Owen's poem Strange Meetings. The modern imagery of the First World War has been heavily influenced by poetry and literature from the time, with poems such as "In Flanders Fields," "The General," or "Dulce et decorum est," where before romanticizing and idealizing warfare was the norm, these works of literature broke that mold, describing a more harsher reality. In 1985, a memorial stone was created at Westminster Abbey's Poets' Corner to honour 16 World War I poets. Among those attending the unveiling was a 90-year-old Robert Graves, who was the last living poet to be honoured on the slate stone. The stone appears alongside the resting places and memorials of Chaucer and Shakespeare, reflecting the important place these poets' works still sit amongst our culture. Next up we have this striking design by Edwina Ellis to commemorate the HMS Dreadnaught. We look down the barrels of the naval guns on the deck of the ship itself. The edge inscription reads as "Watchdogs of the Nation," from the poem For England's Sons in Danger. The HMS Dreadnought was launched in 1906 and was a revolutionary ship with state-of-the-art steam turbines, with 5 twin 12-inch guns and 27 single 3-inch guns and 5 18-inch torpedo tubes. It was the most powerful warship in the entire world at the time. By the outbreak of the First World War, both Britain and Germany had built even more powerful battleships, including super dreadnought class vessels. For Britain, maintaining naval superiority was key to avoid invasion. The ship's design was such a game changer that subsequent battleships of other nations became commonly referred to as dreadnoughts, and in 1960 Britain's first nuclear submarine was also named Dreadnought. Although she was undergoing a refit at the time of the Battle of Jutland, which was the most significant naval engagement of the war, she was the only battleship to purposefully sink an enemy submarine, having rammed the U-boat 29 and splitting it in two. Very few artefacts remain of this great ship, however a gun cover is in the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich. The ship was sold in 1921 for scrap at a cost of just over £36,500. Our penultimate design is by John Bergdahl and commemorates the Battle of the Somme. The design is a scene of trench warfare, showing soldiers running across the battlefield, and a Mark I tank. The edge inscription on this coin is a stark quote, reading as "Dead men can advance no further." The Battle of the Somme was a pivotal moment in the First World War, and one that is remembered for the huge loss of lives. Having been mired in trench warfare, stuck in a deadlock, it was decided the Allies needed a big push to break through the lines of the Central Powers. The Somme was the offensive undertaken by French and British forces, although French losses at Verdun reduced their originally planned contribution, relying more heavily on Britain's forces. The battle took place between July 1st and November 18th and remains one of the most deadliest battles in human history. With over 3 million men fighting in the battle and over 1 million killed or wounded, the first day of the battle saw almost 57,500 British casualties, which was the worst in the history of the British Army. The British commanders learnt difficult but important lessons in conducting mass industrial warfare, and there were over 50 Victoria Cross medals awarded to participating forces over the course of this battle. We finished this set with this coin, again designed by John Bergdahl, to remember the Battle of Jutland. The design depicts battleships at sea, under fire, with a splash of a destination and smoke rising from the perilous seas. The edge inscription reads, "Our children shall measure their worth," from Rudyard Kipling's poem The Verdicts. The naval battle was fought by Britain's Royal Navy's Grand Fleet and the Imperial German Navy's High Seas Fleet between May 31st and June 1st, 1916, off the coast of Denmark's Jutland Peninsula. It was the largest naval battle and the only full-scale clash of battleships throughout the war. The Germans' intention was to lure out, trap and destroy a portion of the Grand Fleet, as Britain's navy far outmatched that of the Germans. But it would be Germany's High Seas Fleet which ended up lured out and trapped, cut off from their bases on the first day of fighting. However, they did manage to break through the British line and return to their home bases. Both sides claimed this as a victory, with the British claiming the containment of the German fleet having been achieved, and the Germans claiming the higher British losses as proof of their own success. The German fleet remained a concern for the British, who wanted to keep them out of the Atlantic, forcing the German Navy to focus its efforts on unrestricted submarine warfare, instead of using its surface fleet. Well, that's another set finished, marking the instrumental moments, people and forces of the First World War. Do let me know down in the comments which is your favourite coin from this set. Personally, I lean towards the HMS Dreadnought. The design really stands out in this set. As ever, there are links down in the description to our website with our product listings for this set, along with other related products, if you'd like to take a look at more detail yourself. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Subscribing is free to do and it means you won't miss any of our future videos. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we post lots of pictures of our products. You can also catch us on Twitter and TikTok. We've got our shop and online store, and I'll see you next time for more amazing coins from the Britannia Coin Company.